You're born twice, the first time when you come out of your mother's womb, and the second time when you are actually shown the truth from an outside force. So the universe that we're in is actually a simulation or holographic or dream semantics. We're in a different reality than we actually think it is. We're born inside this body and we forget where we come from. There's a purpose to us being here. And with this video, I'm going to try to prove it to you. People have been waking up and realizing where they came from, having this experience for an extremely long time. It's part of our history. It's part of who we are. At some point in our lives, we wake up showing the entire truth, and then we're put back in our bodies and we start playing a role. I want you to understand that there's this huge secret that nobody's talking about. This is part of our evolution. We wake up, we remember everything, and we keep it quiet. And then the show continues for those that are still asleep. There's a reason why we're here as a whole. This is something on a human level. This is basically who we are and why we came here. All of this is kept a secret by a lot of people. 40% of the planet, I would estimate, is awake. So I'm going to try to prove it to you in this video. This is actually an accumulation of all the work I've done up until now. Our entire universe is based on math. This is the Vesica Piscis, two interlocking circles. What you do is you first create a circle, and then you go directly to the edge, and from that edge you create another circle. The Vesica Piscis becomes the seed of life or Genesis pattern. So basically, after you have two circles, you continue the process. You go directly to an edge, and you add the circle. You go to the edge, continue adding circles until you get this pattern. This pattern then continues, which becomes the flower of life. You hear it online, they talk about the sacred geometry often. I want you to go about it logically. I want you to ask, how is it that at one part of the world people were able to came up with this pattern, and on the complete other end of the world people came up with the exact same pattern? It was shown to them. It wasn't like they looked up at the stars, they drew a constellation. This is still very specific. Yes, it's based off math, but it's still very specific, and it's all over the place. So back in ancient times, people were taken out of this reality, shown the entire truth that our universe is based on math. They were shown the flower of life, and then they started carving it into stones and other places. The thing is, though, it didn't stop happening. People today, on a mass scale, are being awakened, shown the entire truth, and are told to keep quiet about it. And we've gotten clever. People have gotten clever on how we express this truth hidden in plain sight. The flower of life then becomes the fruit of life. From the fruit of life, you achieve the platonic solids. These are the platonic solids. In my mind, I don't understand how this becomes the platonic solids. But there's enough proof out there that goes ahead and shows you that, yeah, it's actually part of our reality. Remember the Vesica Piscis? So Gucci knows about the Vesica Piscis and understands the flower of life. Quiz, these are all logos. Unitrans, interlocking circles, very cleverly placed. DC Shoes, Coco Chanel, MasterCard, interlocking circles. And it goes on. This is in a lot of our logos and current businesses that we have today. So unlike in the past where what was carved into stone, plates, or on coins, or on other random places. Today we have many logos, and they're cleverly placed in our logos. We communicate today through, and it's posted all over the place. Fruit, Darkroom, Moen, the two circles, Marcane. It continues. There's a lot of this. I have a lot more, and I'll just show you a few of them. Kent's, the interlocking circles, Cardio, Yoga Jeans, interlocking circles, Puma, Pipeline. Didn't matter the company, if it was rich or poor, if it was for profit or for charity. Didn't matter what kind of company. People wake up at some point. Those who create companies have put it inside their logos. You see it everywhere, but it's hidden in plain sight, and you just go about your day and you don't realize it. Before you turn around and say this is Venn diagrams or Boolean diagrams, and that you understand, and these kind of things, it goes on. This is when you continue adding circles to it. Some of these company logos I took the pictures from, and I don't remember what the logos were, so I just put the images, but you can Google goggle them, and you'll see that they are actual companies. Walmart. So now this one is a little bit, they're clever on how they did it, but this is basically how they had put it in there. This is the seed of life, so it continues. It's not just the Vesica Pisces now. It goes up to the seed of life. It was always there. The flower of life. Coldplay has it on top of their CD cover. So Coldplay knows about the truth. Many people know about this truth and keep it a secret. The Platonic solids, but it's not just with interlocking circles. It goes on. Remember the Platonic solids. You achieve one of these things, which is the icosahedron. I put it upside down because it's also placed cleverly. Chrysler. So if you were to take the icosahedron and you were to go ahead and take a slice off of the icosahedron, Chrysler has it on top of their logo. Advanced Manufacturing Canada has it over here, the icosahedron. Now it doesn't stop there. Our universe is based off on a lot of math. So phi, these ones are the ones that it evolves. It's no longer just Venn diagrams or Vesica Pisces. Our universe is based on a lot of math, and it's expressed differently. There's a lot of parameters to our reality. All right, some of the logos go ahead and express it as math parts, what our reality is built on. Phi being one of them. So if you look at phi, all right, this is how phi is, which is the golden ratio. You find that a lot in nature. Mosaic surfaces. This is the phi grid. Look at the way the square becomes another square, another square. These people sell tiles, but this is good for selling tiles because you want to build a kitchen, so you have the tiles, but you also have the phi grid in the background. Notice how the square becomes a bigger square, and then the rectangle. Well, you have the small square, bigger square, bigger square, bigger square, and then the rectangle. This is phi. It continues. You have the phi over here. This is the Argosy Foundation, Cognition Education, phi. It's hidden cleverly. Another phi example. This is phi. All right, this is the symbol for phi. You have it over here. You have it in here. You have it in here. You have it over here. You have it over here. If you want to see a nice video on phi in nature based on our reality, I suggest you go ahead and YouTube Nature by Numbers, a Fibonacci sequence, and the golden ratio. This is what we're based on. It's not just phi or the flower of life that's part of our math. There's a lot that's built into this reality, and it's represented in logos. One of the patterns has to do with the letter A, and this one is the most predominant one, A being a vowel that is often used. This is the most predominant one. The famous people that go ahead and block their one eye, well, they go ahead and manipulate the A in their font. For those of you who are curious in terms of what this actually represents, not 666 but three eyes, and omega and a whole, which eye they work for, I suggest you go ahead and watch the video on my channel, the Illuminati, the all-seeing eye, are mine and who is listening. And for those of you that go ahead and say that things that has to do with, well, if the famous people are awake, this is not, they're worshiping this or worshiping, look at what they're promoting. I suggest you go ahead and watch the video on my channel called The Script. The good, the bad, and those still asleep. Those two videos will go ahead and address the whole famous people thing. But it continues. It's not just famous people. The pattern with the letter A. Yeah, when I went to school, I remember the A was. This is how the letter A was done. All right. Now this actually has to do with Vortex Math 369. I'm going to show you a little clip first to show you just how many people are going ahead and manipulate the math and manipulate the letter A based on the math that we're shown at some point in our lives. And then I'll go ahead and prove to you that it's actually based on Vortex Math. Attempt. So 369, Vortex Math. If you want to understand Vortex Math and toroidal fields, then I suggest you go on YouTube, the genius minds who are able to explain it. Marco Rodin and Randy Powell. They're going to be much more apt to go ahead and explain to you the math behind our universe, especially when it comes to 369s and toroidal fields. Just to prove that they're onto something and that they're capable of explaining it. People who are awakened wake up at some point and are shown the truth. Volkswagen goes ahead and displays it inside their logo. You see over here how you have the 124875. You're better off YouTubing Marco Rodin or Randy Powell. They'll go ahead and explain to you the math behind this pattern over here, this series. This symbol is the one that they used often. You have it over here, 124875. Vortex Math, the 3, the 9, the 6, that's the representation that, people who wake up and do logos, they go ahead and present it inside their logos when they're awake with the letter A. It has to do with this. The triangle is actually, I think, the variation on the triangle, this I discovered recently, or I've come to understand it recently, actually is the highest order of, followed after, because there's levels to when you wake up at what, they talk about dimension. This is the representation of the fourth dimension, or dimensions to our reality. This is the hand signal for the fourth dimension. I think this is the hand signal for the fifth dimension. High five, down low, too slow. It's in everything. It's part of our reality. It's not expressed just in logos, it's also expressed in songs, in sayings. Two birds, one stone. We're represented as the stone, the two birds. It's metaphors. A lot of it is expressed. And once you start waking up and you start grasping how this encompasses everything about our lives, you catch it wherever you are. You could go open your cupboard and you see the pattern that I'm showing to you. And while we're on the topic of the math behind our universe, I suggest you go and research Nassim Haramein's work, his latest video, Black Hole. Look for it. You'll see that he also speaks a lot about the math behind our universe. He's more on the tetragrammatron and the 64 tetrahedron grid. Still, I grasp it, but I don't fully understand it. I know it has a lot to do with the math behind our universe. My experiences led me to understand that many people who are, in the universe is based on math. Mark Arad and Randy Powell and Nassim Haramein are probably the people I would direct you to when it comes to the math behind our universe. So this has to do with the pattern with the letter O representing omega, whole, or holy. You'll notice that some of these companies go ahead and manipulate with their letter O. Selection over here, they go ahead and make it with the letter O. Comic Relief, Dole, Conical, Norton. So simple font, and they go ahead and they go ahead and manipulate it in a certain way with the letter O. You know, there's this is, like I said, omega, whole, or holy, alpha, omega, the halo. When you, that's like with the biblical reference. You become whole, balanced. That's key. You become sovereign. That's something key. That why we come here. It continues. Simple font with the letter I being dotted a different color. So now this is simple font. You'll notice that a lot of companies will go ahead and manipulate with the letter I. Paris, they'll go ahead and put the I with the Eiffel Tower. So I went and found you simple font. All right, you have Fruit Loops, another example. No, not Fruit Loops. Cheerios is another example of how they dot the I with a Cheerio, but they use a Cheerio, so you're just gonna say that's product placement. So what I went and did is I went and found you companies that have simple font and they dot the I a different color. Ask yourself logically, why is this pattern going on? You understand? The I being dotted a different color. City, Innova, Soul Bliss being dotted a different color. It continues. It's in many different places. This is all, you cannot have everybody go ahead and do the interlocking circles. You cannot have everybody go ahead and manipulate it with the letter A this certain way. Like I said, O, there's levels to our what we become on the other side. There's alpha, omega, and the all-seeing eye, that triangle, it's the all-seeing eye is actually many eyes seeing all, omniscient. There's something that has to do with our reality, what is going on in our brain, our pineal gland, which is why the eye is being dotted differently, a different color. That's going ahead and saying, Pink knows that what is going on. She inverts the letter I. Helios knows what is going on with our pineal gland, and what is the representation of it has nothing to do with math based on our reality, but it has something to do with a parameter that concerns us. The letter A, this triangle thing actually has to do with the highest thing. So there's the alpha, the omega, and those who do the representation with the triangle. Is my guess is that the highest. The triangle is the highest form of the highest level you could achieve. You're part of the all-seeing eye. You then observe and witness everything. You become omniscient, but only when you fall asleep and you go up on the other side. There are rules to this reality. So it's not like if you happen to be higher than omega and you're part of the all-seeing eye. Hypothetically, let's just say that I'm part of the all-seeing eye. All right. I had my experience at some point. I went to sleep. I'm awake and aware. Hypothetically, I'm awake and aware. For some reason, I'm extremely balanced. I'm extremely understanding. I went through all my experience. I've accumulated all my shame. Everything's recorded in this reality. So I know, I understand not to judge. I grasp and understand, the importance of every being, every life. I do not come from a judgmental place, regardless of skin color, orientation, what you believe in, what shame you've accumulated in your past, what you've done negatively. I come from a place of unconditional love. You understand? I might not agree with what you do, but I don't judge you. I understand that it's a growing process. We come here to learn, and I just work on the other side. That being said, though, when I'm here physically as Nick, I don't have these powers. I have other abilities that are kept hidden from. There are many abilities that are kept hidden from those awake, but being omniscient is not one of them. When I go, if I'm awake and aware and wholly balanced and the highest order, I would go to sleep, wake up on the other side, and work on individuals who are asleep. I would go ahead, but there's rules. That's the whole thing. There's free will is one of them. I cannot, I cannot alter free will. I cannot go ahead and force you to do something. What I could do is I could put you in scenarios and situations where things could, force you to make a decision, either one for positivity or one for selfishness. We do get sorted on this planet. People wake up either negatively or positively. Positive, you make enough positive choices where taking care of yourself and taking care of those around you, and you're sincere and honest. There's a reason why you forget and you're unaware of everything, so you actually see your true self. our thoughts are being listened to. So these guys, whoever is on the other side, awake, part of the all-seeing eye, there are levels to it. They're like I said, this is the fourth. They interact with us. The fifth interacts with us. I don't know how high it goes, but I understand that the other side go ahead and interacts with the individuals. They're able to listen to our mind, and then being in a simulation reality, a matrix. We'll use the word matrix. Being in the matrix, there are things that could be altered on this reality. And although, like I said, when we're here, it's not like I could read your mind. Um, there are things that happen for you to go, and I myself am not awake. I'm aware. I started having synchronetic experiences. If you want to understand my story, go ahead and watch the three-part series, My Story. You'll go and understand how I became aware. Those who and the abilities that the awake have. I made a video on that. You can go ahead and watch the abilities that the awake have. I would have to estimate 40% of the planet is awake, if not more. Those who are asleep wake up negatively. Those are used as channels. They do not have so there are perks to waking up positive and taking care of yourself and being sincere and understanding and taking care of those around you. You do wake up on the other side, and it's a responsibility. It's not there's fun to it. Obviously, there's a lot of fun to being on the other side. I haven't been there myself, but it's a responsibility. So I'm going to wrap it up with the logo pattern, and we're going to move to something else. I want you to go ahead and pay attention to the letter I, pay attention to the letter A, interlocking circles. These are company logos that I took from roughly 200 countries around the planet. Doesn't matter what religion or location they came from, they all follow this pattern. Didn't matter the ethnicity. So regardless of the location on the planet, this pattern is expressed continuously. It doesn't matter what religion you believed in or ethnicity you are. This pattern, if it's in a well-developed place, uh, people that are able to make logos, they went ahead. It's expressed. Be it, if you're Hindu, Buddhist, if you're from China, if you're Catholic and in the United States, it doesn't matter if you're. This pattern was expressed everywhere. Those were 200 company logos from around the world. So it leads you to ask if this pattern is, go about it logically. If there's this pattern going on, it's for a reason. My experiences went ahead and made me start looking in the right places. I started having experiences, and it made me start looking for this pattern all over the place. It's kept hidden from us because it's part of our reality. Everything else is just you're going ahead and trying to figure out, what you are, who you are, become sovereign, and at some point people wake up. Like in the past, they had the flower of life at one end of the world. They were shown the truth. And like today, it continues on today. People wake up at some point in their lives. They're shown the entire truth. Remember who they are, why they came here, what's the point of us being here. You either wake up positive or you either wake up negative. And when that happens, you're shown the entire truth. So we all come from the same source. We all have one place of origin. The arguments over religions have to stop. This is pointless. This whole thing where, this is my guy. But if I walk into a mosque or if I go to any other place of worship, I have respect for it because it was one way of going ahead and express the truth of who we are. This guy's a great example of how to live life. He wouldn't turn around and say, those who go ahead and preach this thing that go and talk about orientation or something, it's like an outdated system. We all come from the same place. So all of this stuff, this guy being the only way, I don't think so. I think he's a prime example of how to behave life, and I respect this. Let's move on to the pineal gland. I'm going to start off with ancient Egypt, the Egyptians, Horus and Ra. So Horus or Amun-Ra. If you were to go ahead and take your brain, you have the two hemispheres. If you were to go ahead and split your brain, if you notice inside one side where your pineal gland is located, that's what the Ra and Horus represents. Now, in my Illuminati, the all-seeing eye, your mind, and who is listening, I go ahead and explain to you what the hand signals represent, this being three eyes, Omega, but I also go ahead and explain to you what eye you work for. This represents something, this represents something, this represents something, this represents something. You can go ahead and watch that video if you want to understand what that represents. But the Horus and Amun-Ra thing were different ways of this in the past. They go ahead and they spoke, there's either the left or the right, one. In short, go ahead and the right goes ahead and pushes you, mercy. The left eye goes ahead and pulls you, grace. Gives you hope. You understand that the left eye, this eye goes ahead and gives you hope, shows you where your strong points are, whereas the right side goes ahead and humbles you, keeps you grounded. If you have some arrogance. In my case, in my story, I understand this side, not this eye. It's not something demonic or satanic. First off, from my understanding, we're in a simulation reality. The mythical character, the devil, is just a mythical character. There was fear at some point in the past. Fear was positive. If you understand why we're here, you understand that something has to become sovereign, and we're basically meant. We come here to understand peace. We suffer so that we do not want to cause suffering anymore. We're going through like a process where, on a human level, all of the crap, a lot of the inequality, a lot of the stuff that we come here to learn is for that purpose, so that we do not want to continue creating it. And now we're kept hidden from the truth, and we're observed, and we have this process of while we're asleep, we go throughout lives, and we're faced with different, we're dealt certain cards, and depending on how we play them, we go ahead and we're either sorted as light or dark. But at some point, you do have a choice afterwards. After the awakening, you can change the road you're on, because there is a reason for us being here. You only start rising in consciousness, awareness, and dimensions, and you get out of this reality once you've achieved this inner peace and balance and understanding, and you become humble and you control the ego. I try to explain that in all my videos. So it's also expressed in songs. The eye of Horus and Ra, the pineal gland. It's also expressed in logos. Rockstar Energy Drinks has the two R's, Ra and Horus. The two eyes that remember over here, the Ra and Horus, the two R's. It's not something that has to do with worshiping Egyptians or Ra or Horus. You're not worshiping anything. These are ways of going ahead and expressing the truth by telling you a lie. Um, so are there other beings outside of this reality? Absolutely. It's part of we're intimately connected with what is on the other side. We come here to learn these lessons, and at some point when it's our turn, it's the human race turn. We come here, we learn the lessons that we're meant to learn. Once we learn those lessons, we have our awakening. If not, we have the negative awakening, and we hopefully go throughout. We finish our lives learning those lessons. And just because you awake positive doesn't mean that, oh, hey, job's done. This is something that you continue going throughout your life. If you wake up negatively, you hopefully strive towards that inner peace, balance, and understanding. Why is there still a lot of many people are on the planet are awake? Why does it still continue? I want you to go ahead and watch the video, the script that is at play. You'll understand why it still continues the way it is. The parameters of this game, the way this game is placed, is set in such a way so that individuals who come here at some, the newborns, the new people who are born, kids grow up in a certain environment that learn all these lessons right now. We exist after this. We are forever. Our life is just a certain path that we go through. Since we exist forever, we're given the illusion of, we live 100 years so that we can appreciate time. We go ahead and dabble in the 7 deadly sins. It's a school. Think of it as a school. And the principal goes ahead and observes the students without them knowing it. Watch the script that is at play, the good, the bad, and those still asleep, to understand why some of the people who are awake still continue on what is going on. The most important thing is the individual that leaves this reality. You come here for a reason. The most important thing, this being a matrix, is the individual that leaves this reality. So this Ra and Horus thing, it's a representation of which eye you work for. And, it continues over here. They're selling windows and doors, and you can go ahead and you see the pattern over here. They cleverly place their font things. So it continues. Is there something else on the other side? Absolutely. Like I said, we're intimately connected with it. And I want you to understand, though, that the human planet, what we are here, wars, famine, poverty, all of that is a primitive way. On the other side, it's a positive place. It's a positive place. I want you to think Star Trek. But even that is like the Stone Age compared to what is on the other side. Are there different opinions? Absolutely. Is it good or bad? It's kind of the question is everything on the other side good? It's kind of like asking, my logic, the way I see it, is kind of like asking the question, is Canada good or bad? There are people who, take any country, all right? I'm Canadian. Is Canada good or bad? You have, certain people, and think of it as the country has achieved peace, and there's no wars, because that's a primitive way of thinking. We suffered enough. We understood. Is everybody good or bad? Difference of opinions. You're allowed to your opinion, being sovereign and having your own opinion. What is respected on the other side is things like knowledge, life, regardless if everything is sentient. So you coexist with everything that is out there. Knowledge, peace, respect, consideration, values, the things on that nature is what respected on the other side, but opinions as well. So going to war, this is not something that is there on the other side. This is my understanding. It would make sense. In the past we used to run around with swords. Today we've evolved to war. That's the construct of this game. But in places where there's peace and understanding and respect for different opinions, these arguments and based on war, that's a primitive way. It's a primitive being. We've come here to evolve out of this mentality. When you pass, when you die, and you became balanced, whole, understanding, completely full, you end up, you graduate to the other side. That's the purpose of the human experience. So the omniscient eye is many eyes seeing all. This logo, they have it in their logos. It's part of our reality. It's expressed in logos. People wake up at some point in their lives, they're shown the entire truth, and they go ahead and express it in logos. If I'm famous and I have a face, I could attract you to the certain part of YouTube by doing this thing, and then fear attracts people. I was like, why are famous people doing this? You just have enough famous people doing it, and you put it out there. Because I'm famous, I won't sell muffins doing this. But if I sell per whatever this company is selling, I might be able to do this. Or if I'm selling windows or doors, I might go ahead and put that logo thing. So it has two effects. So the famous people go ahead and when somebody, let's just say that I have awakened and I was shown the entire truth and I understood everything. I saw why I came here, or regardless if I woke up positive or light, I'm released back into this reality, and I sort of have this feeling of how many people are awake. I start questioning things. I start wondering how many people are awake, and I realize that it's everywhere. It's everywhere when it comes to logos. It's expressed everywhere, be it with the alpha O, and it was in my face the entire time. Then I also start understanding, how the little hidden messages in music.
There be nothing left for no one. If you don't start living your life, turn to one side with a blind eye. There be nothing left for no one, for no one.
Around all we gon' play, we gon' give it time but never go away. Said it either black or white but not gray.
If we could love the Lord and still go do our thing, but see it doesn't work like that. You gotta be white or black.
And I created this series that has to do with music. I suggest that you watch the entire series. There's 6 videos. There's the intro, parts 1 to 5. I should continue adding to it. And I want you to understand, though, it's not like there's double entendres, there's hidden meanings, but this is where you'll see, and I got this pure form of information because it was meant for those who are awake. It's a hidden language, and it's not the kind of language that you can guess. Think of something, it's not like they talk to you in certain ways and you hear little meanings. It's a completely different vernacular. So you imagine trying to listen to music and you don't speak French, and all of a sudden, you start understanding the language, and then you see what they're talking about. I'm going to continue adding to that list, so I suggest you go ahead and watch that language of song series that I created. Part 5 will go ahead and show you. At part 5 is when you'll start definitely noticing that there's something going on with the language of song series. And a lot of my information came from just trying to decipher songs and the language of songs. Part 6, I should continue adding to it. There's still some stuff that I haven't touched on yet. Those 4 songs that I played earlier in this video about 2 minutes ago, it's a very small example of how direct messages. My language of song series has a hidden vernacular that you have to watch the series to understand, so I suggest you go ahead and watch that series. A lot of that stuff, a lot of my information came, like I said, from that music series, because it is meant only for those who are awake. It was a piece, I started having experiences and I connected all the dots. Then when I started having experiences and I saw it in logos, I'm like, it has to be expressed other than just in logos. So I went to go ahead and listen to music, and I started having experiences. A little bit of my experiences, I started hearing music differently. I started interacting with the TV. Electronics, everything in this reality can be manipulated. So those people that, you go on YouTube and all of a sudden you have suggested results. A lot of that suggested results, if you're just completely asleep and you're nowhere near being awakened, the suggested results has to do with whatever the heck you're watching on YouTube. If you're in this area of the internet and searching for the truth, a lot of that suggested result is orchestrated. It's actually purposely put there by those who are on the other side, listening to your thoughts, aware of what you're thinking and what you're going through, and then they sort of place like little breadcrumbs inside the videos. It's not always breadcrumbs. A lot of the time you have some fear-based information that you need to go work through, and you're being sorted out. So hopefully what they'll do is they'll show you information and they'll see how your mind works. You are being listened to, like I said, mentally, and that's the reason for how that stuff is presented on the side on your YouTube results, suggested videos. Some of my other experiences besides synchronicity, I'm walking around. Synchronicity is ridiculous. You could have advertising by going ahead and scroll on YouTube, whatever you're looking on, the advertisement is like directly related to whatever I'm going through. Commercials on TV, I communicate with technology. I had an iPad on shuffle with 1,300 songs, and I would put it on shuffle, and I would have communications with this iPad. So the other side is actually communicating to me through whatever they want to manipulate inside this reality. Which is when I started going ahead and look for the pattern in logos. I started going because it's impossible. I knew I was sane, and I'm having experiences, and that's why I started making YouTube videos to go ahead and share the truth. Those awake cannot speak of the truth. They found out from an outside source. Once they are awakened, they're shown the entire truth from an outside source, and the rule of free will, which is the people on this planet. Whatever happens within this planet has to happen, because as a whole, on a human experience, we ourselves have to go ahead and either strive towards peace or strive, whatever it is on an individual level. So on a planetary level, the human race has to go ahead and choose, has like this sorting process going on. So that's the reason of free will. So the truth cannot come from the outside. I started having experiences from within. I am not awake, I'm aware. And I started, listen to my story, and you'll go ahead, my part 1 to 3 story, I'll go ahead and explain to you how I'm able to go ahead and speak about these things. And just to lay the fear to rest that this has to do with the devil, famous people and satanic worshiping. Again, if you're stuck on that fear-based system, go ahead and watch the Illuminati, the All-Seeing Eye, the Mind, and Who is Listening on my channel, and also the script that is at play when it's regarding why are they promoting certain topics. So go ahead and watch that thing. But just to go ahead and show you that it's not actually just famous people who are doing this thing, or whatever. I hope the pattern and logo showed you that, regardless of where you are on the planet, they're following the pattern. So there's this pattern thing going on. It's our life. It's the human experience. It's what at some point we're asleep, and at some point we wake up. And I would have to estimate 40% of the planet is awake, if not more. Many people are awake. And why everybody else is not speaking. I created a video that those who are awake do not speak of the truth. Watch that video. They'll go ahead and it'll explain to you why those awake are not speaking of the truth. A lot of the information is on my channel. You can go ahead and view the information. Please think for yourself. Understand that that video that I made, Please Think for Yourself, is actually an important video. And that video goes ahead and explains to you exactly what I know at 100% because of my experiences and through my research, music, speaking to certain individuals who are awake. And I explain how some of them did put me down a wrong path because, was I going to believe, like on YouTube, was I just going to believe what somebody told me, or was I going to go ahead and research the information myself and, be sure about it before I go ahead and share it with others? So please think for yourself. Including what I present forward. I try to put all the information there for you, so like the work is half done, but go ahead and walk down the street, go shopping one day, and just notice how many advertisings. I want you to pay attention to this. When you go out shopping, right, you're going to notice that for some reason, as you're shopping, you're just going to start noticing these things if you yourself look for it. Right, you're going to see a lot of advertising, some sort of makeup thing where people just block their eyes with the makeup, or they're doing this thing with the eye. That's the makeup section, or whatever else they're selling. You're going to notice the patterns with the logos. You're going to pay attention for the letter I being dotted a different color, or some variation on the letter I. You're going to look for the variations with the letter A. You're going to look for the interlocking circles or a variation on the letter O. You're also going to pay attention to the blue and red. Blue representing positive, red representing negative. The black and the white. That's what it is. There's two teams. This would be the blue team. This would be the blue team. This would be the red team. The red team. The thing is, though, is we're considered lights. So that whole red and blue thing is it's not the team. Rather, it's more we're considered lights. Watch the Language of Song series. Part 2 will actually go ahead and explain to you why we're called lights and why we glow a certain color. The more negative you are, the darker you become. The darker red you become. The more positive you are, the lighter blue. Think of a rainbow. You understand? You go up in colors, the colors of the rainbow. That's why there was I forget what group it is, but they have like the prism, the light goes in, our source. We all come from that thing, and then there's we're filtered out different colors, different levels of whatever we are. Language of Song series. And at the end, I just want to end with this video, because we can alter, even though we're inside this reality with parameters at play, we're all players inside the game. The power lies within us. We can go ahead and choose to either continue this way, this school. Do we really need to learn these lessons, or can we go ahead and accelerate the process of why we're here? We could change everything. So the next few things I want to talk about, just leave it out there for you guys to go ahead and listen to. I suggest that you look up the Ubuntu movement by Michael Tellinger. This is an idea of how we can get ahead and work our way off the monetary based system. It's going to have to take some work from us. All right, so it's going to be this thing where we're not just the consumers, and we go ahead and realize what's the important things. It's not that big screen TV, or understand. I just finished throwing out my mother's screen TV that had like this back thing coming out. Technology is advancing so fast. I mean, you really need that new phone that just came out. How many? I'm guilty of it too. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes, but I'm learning and I'm progressing through it. So Google the Ubuntu movement by Michael Tellinger. This is an idea that can go ahead and get us away from the system that we are right now. The inequalities on this planet isn't fair. This is one step that can go ahead and bring us towards something better than where we are today. And also, I want you to go ahead and look at the Venus Project by the late Jacques Fresco. This is also something that's actually quite smart. His idea of I think this guy's a genius. He also talks about nature versus nurture. He talks about how people are a product of their environment, but at the same time, there's still, it's a balance of both, nature versus nurture. It's both, in my opinion, but nurture has a lot to do with it. So that's it. Look up these two videos as well, Venus Project and these two ideas, rather, the Ubuntu movement and the Venus Project. So that's it. I hope this video helped in waking you up, or at least may start making you ask certain questions. And you can go ahead and maybe use this video to go ahead and try to, for those of you who are awake, and I know there are many of you who are awake, that you can go ahead and show this to those, nudge them towards the truth, and then whatever happens. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Take care.